Hi, this is gonna be part 3 of making my Ayane cosplay. I'm making an Ayane cosplay from Dead or Alive to compete at the CSC Worlds Collide cosplay competition in January. I started this cosplay in May. It is currently it's currently July, thank you. So I have a few months before the convention. I have a lot of months. But we're making progress on this cosplay, so let's leave where we left off, which is still working on the base of the dress. If you have not watched the other parts, I do recommend to go watch that first so you understand where I am and some of the techniques I'm using. So yeah.
So in the last part, we sewed the lining on, and right now we're currently cutting off the excess fabric from the top of the dress, so I have room and it's not rubbing on my tummy when I add the skirt to the bottom of the dress, because the skirt is not going to be lined. It's just going to be freeform fabric, which might be a mistake, but it's fine for now. I literally forgot to film a part before this, but because we're done the top, we're going to start working on the arm cuffs that she wears in her costume. I just started yelling at the camera, so enjoy me yelling. Okay, first I want it to start right here, so we're gonna have to measure from right here. You ready? Go do it in my mouth. Okay. Dang, my arm's only 10 inches? Okay, we're flexing now so I can feel better about myself. Okay, it's 11 inches. So, I'm gonna show you the shape I'm making on paper before I make it on this, just to make sure it's gonna hold right. So let's go. Okay, this is done. We need to make 2 of them on this fabric. This fabric doesn't need the lining because it's supposed to be droopy and stuff, or like the sleeves are supposed to be droopy, so I will be fine. So let's go draw this on here. I'm not gonna film it, but then you'll see me when I'm back done after cutting it. Okay. Ugh. Oh, why can't my arm go through? Anyways, cuffs. Ooh. Anyways, we need to make an arm strap so it's like elastic. I have too much energy, so I'm gonna cut an elastic, and then I'm gonna cut a hold thing, and then make a tube for it to go into, and then yeah, we're gonna make a tube now. So we're gonna take this, fold it in half, sew all around it, and then we're gonna flip it inside out. So let's go. Put it down, up, down. I'm trimming the fabric here. There's not really any reason to, other than the fact that it makes pushing it through the tube easier, because you're gonna see pushing it through the tube is not fun. It's not fun. We're gonna take a knitting needle and flip it inside out. So let's do that. I realized I shouldn't have sewn these together, so we're gonna have to cut this off and then put it in there, and then we'll be good. If you ever need to get anything through too, get a paper, not a safety pin, put it in there, and then push it through your tube. And then just, yeah. Woo! So now, there. Okay, so we're gonna take this, we're gonna fold it, and then we're gonna French seam it, so it's going to be another seam. So I'm going to fold, okay, I'm gonna explain this better. This is the side I wanna use because this has the shinier side. I'm going to fold it over and sew it wrong sides together first. And I know you don't want the seams to show, but it's going to make sense when I'm done. So, let's do this. Now that we have a seam running from the side, we are going to cut so close to it. When I tell you, literally right next to it, right there. Do not cut into the seam, but it has to be like a baby millimeter away. There's a word for that, but I don't know. Okay, I've cut it, and it's been flipped inside out. So now it's like, now I can wear it technically. But we're going to French seam it. So it's flipped inside out. I'm going to sew it right there. So, let's go. Now we have the scrunchy end and this end, so I'm just going to hand sew it all around, and then I'll basically be done. I'm going to add mini scallops at the end, which I'll show you how to do. But yeah, let's do some hand stitching. Literally none of the video I filmed for the hand sewing thing, but it's done one. So let's do two, and then yeah. Okay, so we have itty bitty scallops. This is not that hard to do. I'll show you how to do it right now. I actually got it from a hack video. So yeah, first off, you're gonna want to use the little loop stitch that I'm talking about. So you're just going to sew around you're just gonna sew regularly. I have words. You're gonna sew regularly, and it'll show you what to do next. Sew like regular. When you do it, you want to make sure you leave, like, people would typically go on the end. I don't blame you for going on the end. Mine is just uneven, but I want an even line, so I went a lot out. I'm going to do a little more scallops before I show you what I do, because there's 4 scallops on there, so I just want to match both sides, you know? Okay, so you're going to take snips, not big scissors, but tiny scissors, and you are going to cut as... You're going to cut as close as possible to the stitches. I mean, as close as physically possible without cutting the seams. It's going to take a while. The last time it took me like 10 minutes. So you're just going to keep doing that until you're done. And then you're done. Last part that we're gonna do on this is this is ugly, so we're gonna cover it with the origami butterflies that I made earlier, which was actually the first thing I made. So let's go sew that on. Okay, so they're basically done. I have these on. I'm just gonna decide if I want to do beading on it. I'm not entirely sure, but we got a good amount done, so let's go. Yay! Okay, so instead of beading, I'm just going to glue it down because that looks better. I have these flat back pearls, so we're just going to glue about 5 to each side on each thing, and then we'll be good. So let's do that right now. And we're done. We need to buy some beads, but I'm gonna go clean up the glue strings, and then we're all done with this. It's very pretty. Okay, I'm not done. So we pin the bottom of the dress. So we're just gonna sew it on. Simple sewing, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do next. So well, let's go. I forgot to film the process of making the shin pads, but just know the same process I did in the first video where I covered the foam in fabric. I did the same thing with the purple fabric, as well as adding flat back pearls and diamonds around the edge. I'm so sorry about missing this stuff. Okay. The shin pads are done. They kind of look like coffins. It's kind of cute. But anyways, the shin pads are done. So I think I'm done for tonight. That's a lie. I'm gonna go eat, and then I'm gonna go dye some fabric, and then I'm done for tonight. So we're getting a good amount done. I think we're about 50% done the costume right now. Woo! So now I'm just gonna leave the fabric to dye overnight. I use Rit natural dye, whatever they use for natural fibers. I put it in the bucket that's under there. I put some boiling hot water in it that I heated up with a kettle, just about a spoonful or a little bit more of RIT dye, and then spooned it around or mix it around. And look at that rich color. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for it to dry overnight. I'm gonna go to bed, and then tomorrow we're gonna make some bias tape. So let's go. Okay, so fabric has been dyed and dried. It's ready to be cut into bias tape. So I'm gonna show y'all how to do that. But first I have to explain what bias tape is, especially the fabric bias. So let's do a little bit of fabric work with Omi. Okay, so what is the bias of your fabric? Textiles and fabrics are made up of 3 different parts. You have your cross grain, you have your straight grain, and then you have the bias that goes diagonally. Because of the way fabric is woven, when I pull this way, it doesn't really give much leave, or like, it doesn't move. But if I were to pull on the bias or diagonally, you see that it has a little bit of stretch on it. When it comes to higher quality clothes, you typically cut on the bias because of reasons that I don't understand. But right now we are only making the bias tape, cutting on the bias. Because I don't make high quality clothes, I make cosplay, so. Okay, to make bias tape, you're gonna need a ruler, a pen, which I don't, where's my pen? A pen and math. So I want my tape to be about 1.5 inches, and it's gonna be double fold. So we're gonna times that by 4, because you know, we're folding it 4 times. So 1.5 times 4 is 6. So we're going to go from the bias, words don't make sense. Anyway, we're going to measure 6 inches and then draw a line there. And then we're going to draw up. Give me a second. It has to be a straight line. Oh my lord. Once you have it lined up, you're gonna repeat that process like 20 times. So let's repeat. Okay, so the lines have been drawn. So now we're gonna take some scissors and cut them out. So let's do that again. Why do I always sound so tired? I promise I'm not tired. I enjoy cosplaying. I promise. Okay, so we have a good amount made. I don't think I needed to make this much, but that's okay. Now, because we have so many pieces, we have to sew them together. So let's pin this together. Okay, it has been pinned. Time to sew. Yay! Before I continue, I just want to say that this is not the actual way of making, like the cutting part was the actual way of making bias tape, but there's a specific way to make long continuous tubes of it, but I didn't need that much, plus it's really thick. So I'm going to be doing my method, but just saying, like, if you want something that's like nice and clean and precise, I am not the person to come to. I've been doing this for 2 years. I am still a baby. Okay, time to sew. Okay, let's go back up. Let's cut this, and then because there's so much excess, we're just gonna snip that off. Hoity doity doy, hoity doy doy, doity doity doy, doity doy doity doity doy doy. And then we're just gonna repeat that step over and over again until we're done. This is really long. Let's see if I can jump rope. Anyways, time to iron this. Okay, so for double fold bias tape, you're going to fold in this side. You're gonna fold in the other side. And then you're gonna fold it together. And then you're gonna do that all around. I'm gonna pin it so I can hold it in place, but this fabric honestly takes shape really well. So I'm just going to do a few pins before I start ironing it. I've been doing this backwards. Time to redo all that pinning. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. It's pinned. We are going to now iron. So, I think you guys know how to iron, but I'm just gonna film myself ironing. First off, when we iron, we don't iron on this because it's not mine, it's my mom. She says it was expensive and I don't want to melt it just in case. So, now we're gonna take this and we're gonna plug this in. This is my personal iron. We're gonna wait for it to heat up and then we're gonna start ironing. Okay. Also gonna open my thing. And then when you press fabric, you're not going to be like, whew, you're going to press. But I'm trying to be gentle on this. Literally just press. Hold on it for a few seconds. You can also use the foaming or like the steam, but you don't have to, especially because this one takes shape. This type of fabric takes shape really well. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah! Sorry. It's wet. And then you're just gonna keep doing that till you're done. Okay, so I have the bias tape pinned and we're gonna start sewing down on it. It's not on the corner yet because remember she has a slit in, so we're gonna sew it. Yay! Accidentally sewed over a part I shouldn't have sewed over, so we gotta snip and redo that. This is so great. Oh my gosh. And now I'm pinning myself. You know, you can never go a day in making cosplays without making a mistake, which is fine, but I'm a little pissed. Okay, let's redo this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've pinned all the corners, so I'm just gonna sew over them, but my bottom bobbin ran out, so let's go refill that before I go back to sewing. Okay, so we have bias tape on. Obviously, it looks a little mad. It looks a little mad, but that's because we have to hand sew the back. That hand sewing is going to take me the better part of like a whole day. It's just the facts of it. So I'm going to pin it down to be the way that I want it to be, and then we're going to just get started on some hand sewing, and that's not going to be the rest of my day. I'm sure I'm going to have time because it's summer vacation. I could do what I want. So let's just do some hand sewing so I can do the corners, and then we'll get work on the embellishment, and then the skirt is officially done. Okay, it's been pinned. Time to hand sew. Yay. Would y'all believe me if I said hand sewing took a couple of hours? Because it took a couple of hours. Like, the sun was out when I started. I swear the sun was set when I was done. I find sewing to be relaxing, but I swear I'm like developing pre-carpal tunnel or something from the amount of hand sewing I was doing. And it was a fancy slip in the ditch as well. It wasn't just regular loop stitching. I wanted to cry. Hi, so that's the end of this video. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Come back later. I don't want to say next week, because what if I just don't want to edit? Come back later to see my fourth part of making this cosplay, because there's a lot of part. I filmed a lot of content. This cosplay is not complicated, but it's not simple, if that makes sense.